Hi everybody and welcome. My name is Carly Stong and I would like to introduce you to the practice of meditation. I think a lot of people feel a little daunted when faced with a meditation practice. Maybe they conjures up images of people levitating and closing their eyes and maintaining extreme focus for a long amount of time. And so I want to reassure you that the practice of meditation is really quite simple. In fact, when I teach meditation, sometimes people are a little surprised at just how easy the techniques are. What makes the practice difficult, however, is creating a regular commitment to your practice. And so my hope is that over the next few classes, as I introduce to you different techniques, different distractions that might come up for you, different ways of focusing your attention, that it makes this practice easy to integrate to your life. Because people have been practicing meditation for thousands of years. Some element of spiritual introspection is found in nearly every culture in society, in nearly every religion. And in fact, it's only really in our modern times where we have moved away from this introspection and find ourselves seeking pleasure and gratitude and a sense of self externally. And so it's really important to make some time to actually find space for silence. In past societies, a lot of our days were spent in silence, and a mindful or meditative practice came maybe a little more naturally. And so I'm asking you to join me in this commitment to spend a little bit of time every day working on this simple practice to bring about a more balanced self, maybe less reactive, maybe a clearer sense of self. Whatever brought you here and whatever you were curious about meditation, I really encourage you to give it some time to manifest itself in your life, however that might show up. So right up front, a question that I get all the time is, how long should I meditate for? And for me, it's less important to say that you're going to meditate for 30 minutes every day than it is to have a time that feels easy to do. So if I said to you, could you spend 5 minutes a day in meditation, and your response is, oh yeah, that's easy, I could spare 5 minutes, then that's a great goal to set for yourself. Because again, the benefits and the strength of your practice will develop with the consistency rather than making space to do it once a week for an hour or something like that. So think of a time that feels very easy for you. If I said, could you meditate for 10 minutes? And your response was like, maybe I could probably do 10 minutes, then just go with 5. Something that feels easy to fit into your life, and set that for a goal maybe for the next 30 days. And again, if 30 days feels overwhelming to you, then what feels doable? Could you do that for 7 days? Could you do it for 3? Could you do it for 5? Whatever feels easy for you to accomplish, so that this experience is enjoyable, that it's authentic to you. There's as many ways to practice meditation as there are people in the world. So I want you to consider this practice as an introduction that might guide you towards other forms of meditation that are just perfect for you. So as I introduce some techniques over the next couple of classes, I want you to keep in mind that the purpose of doing so is so that you can find the perfect practice for yourself. So there's no need to practice every meditation technique that's out there. The one that's most beneficial is the one that you'll do most often. No matter which technique you practice, however, they all share the same basic structure, which is physical comfort, mindfulness, and concentration. And when you break down the meditation practice, that's really all we're doing. So first and foremost, from right where you are, I invite you to find a shape that feels comfortable for you. Maybe that's seated, maybe that's lying down, maybe that's sitting against a wall. Really, any position that you feel you could maintain for the next few minutes. As we practice meditation in this and then the next 3 classes, I'll gradually increase the amount of time that we spend in actual silence. So leaning way forward if you're seated and pulling back on the fleshy bits of your seat to find yourself rooted down through the tops of the thighs. And then shift your spine forward or back or side to side so that it feels your weight is equally placed from the top of your head all the way down onto those sitting bones or the tops of your thighs. Maybe allowing for your shoulders to roll back and down, allowing for your head to kind of wobble a little like it were a balloon floating on the end of a string. And then because we're going to be here for the next few minutes, ideally you'll want to support yourself into this shape. So notice the place where you're most likely to start to round. Maybe you're going to roll up a little towel and bring that behind your body and lean back on a bolster. Anything that you can do to really feel as though there's support beneath you, behind you, beside you, any way that you need so that you're able to maintain this practice. As we continue to practice today, if something starts to become physically distracting, if a little bit of a pain or a pinch becomes noticeable, feel free to pause and move just a little bit into those spaces and then come back to your place of focus and concentration. Because remember, the first and most important pillar to begin is physical comfort. So once you've found yourself in as comfortable a place as possible, then we're going to move on to the next stage of meditation, which is mindfulness. So mindfulness is your ability to bring your attention to a single point. For the purposes of today, we're going to use the breath in and out through the nose. If you're able to breathe in and out through the nose, that's ideal. If not, noticing the breath in and out through the mouth. And as we bring our attention to this single point, we want to feel as though we're investing all of our senses to that point. So if it helps for you to focus, you can close through the eyes and take the visual stimulus away from the world around you and into the breath, almost as though you could see the breath moving in and out, maybe visualizing it as a particular color, or imagining as though you could watch it move all the way through the body. If you tend to drift towards sleep, or if you're feeling a little lethargic today, perhaps allowing your eyes to stay open, but drawing the eyelids heavy. So it's like you're looking towards the tops of your cheeks. So that again, we're taking away the visual stimulus from the world around you and focusing our drishti, or our point of focus, to this breath. From there, you're going to focus your hearing to the breath. So at the exclusion of all the other sounds around you, bring your ears to the breath and see if you can hear the faint whisper of the inhale and the exhale. bringing your felt sense to the breath. What temperature does it feel like it is as it moves in? What temperature is the top lip as the breath comes out? As the breath moves in, what parts of your body feel expansive? And as it moves out, what parts feel supported? What parts feel grounded? What parts feel like they can let go? Taking in any smells as you breathe in through the nose. And cycling back through all of these sense experiences again, over and over. So here's where our third and final component of our meditation comes in, which is the concentration component. So if you've practiced meditation with a guide, for example, that walks you through a story to follow, that's a great practice in mindfulness. The meditation comes in when the guide is silent and the work is for you to maintain that focus on that single point today, on your breath. So for the next 2 minutes, I'm going to be silent so that you can really practice this concentration component. Trust that you'll become distracted and need to bring your focus back to that single point. Maybe your brain will start to busy itself with tasks, distractions, cravings, anxiety, or restless tiger syndrome. And trust that when you find yourself distracted, your next exhale is the opportunity to let those distractions go so that the inhale is clear. It's only 2 minutes that I'm asking you to bring all of your attention, all of your senses to this act of breathing. Doing so on your own until you hear my voice again. taking an inhale breath. And as you exhale, letting go of this focused attention so that your next inhale takes in a little more of the space around you. Listening for the sounds of the space that you're in. Noticing the sights of the space around you, the temperature of the space around you. Blinking open your eyes to take in the visual stimulus of the space around you. And with gratitude, letting this practice go. So you can see what I mean, how this practice is really simple in theory, but can be challenging as you first explore. So I'll invite you to join me again in the next video in this 4-part series as we practice for a little longer, introduce some techniques to stay focused, and practice with a new point of focus. I hope you have a very lovely day.